logged into my WordPress site, and I'm logged in as an administrator, so I can go ahead and install a plugin that will automatically back up my entire site automatically. So I'll set a schedule for it to create a full backup of the entire site. This is one of the first things I like to do and set up after any new or fresh installation of WordPress. Backing up your site actually is really important, and I really recommend that you make this probably your first priority in rolling out security efforts for your site. This should be on the top of the list. I'm going to use a plugin called Updraft Plus. This is a free backup plugin for WordPress. There are a lot of other backup plugins available. Some are free, some are paid or premium. This one is kind of on the fence of both. The one I'll be using is the free version. There is a premium version available. You can always check that out at your discretion. So I'm going to install that plugin by going to Plugins, Add New. And I'm going to search for Updraft Plus. Enter. There it is. I'm going to install it now. This might take a moment for you, so we'll let it finish. Okay, I'm going to activate the plugin. Okay, and there it is. It is activated. You see the option to deactivate. Now, this particular plugin is a bit tricky. With setting it up, I did find myself running into a few hiccups. So to try to help myself in having less things to worry about, I'm going to go ahead and deactivate this Total Cache plugin. So now I'm going to go and set up this plugin. I'm going to go under Settings and select Updraft Plus Backups. Okay, this will take us to the settings for this backup plugin, and I'm going to sync this up to my Google Drive so that I can create a full backup of the site and have it sent to my Google Drive storage space and saved there. So that'll create a remote backup. I'm going to go into the Settings tab. Right here, I'm going to select Daily, so I want the WordPress files to be backed up daily. In the database backup intervals, I'm also going to do daily, so they'll both be done on a daily basis. And then I'm going to retain 2 backups, so it should not exceed more than 2 backup packages. Some plugins for backing up will, if you don't configure the settings, will just keep making backups. By the time you know it, you've got yourself this balloon-sized WordPress installation. So if you want to migrate or do another backup or something like that, you've got yourself this humongous file, so it compounds on itself per backup. You want to make sure that you set some kind of limit of how many backups you want to store at any given time. Okay, so everything else, leave it as is. Right down here where it says choose your remote storage, I'm going to select Google Drive. This will open up some instructions and also some fields where you got to plug in some information to be able to connect to your Google Drive. So just following along here, this gives you a link to open up the guide. I'm going to open that in a new tab. And you can kind of run through this guide yourself or as you're watching this. I'm going to move this to the side and just kind of go down the steps and get this connected. So I'm going to go to this link here. That's going to take me to my Google Drive or Google API to set up a client ID, which I'll need to connect. I'll start by creating a project. give the project name the same as the name of the plugin, so Updraft Plus. Create. And right down here you can see that it's creating it. It'll be a moment. And then once that's done, we'll move forward. You'll see that I've done this a couple of times already with these green check marks when they were created. So now there is this one that's created. Okay. We're going to move on down to APIs and auth here on the left. Start with APIs. And we're looking for Drive API. There it is. So Drive API. It's currently off. I'm going to click on it to enable it. Okay. And I can see at the top here, Drive API is enabled. It's on. I'm going to go down to consent screen. Okay. Select my email. And then give it a product name. You need these two. So you need the email, and it's going to give you the option of the email that you currently sign into, your Google email, and then the product name. I'm just going to give it the same name as the plugin, Updraft Plus. Everything else is optional, so I'll leave it. I'm not going to fill it out. I just need those two pieces of information. Save it. Okay, so it's now saved, and then I'm going to go to credentials here on the left side. So choose credentials, and then create new client ID. Okay, this brings up a window, and I'm going to leave it at web application. And down here, authorized redirect URIs. This link, I'm going to replace it, and I'm going to replace it with the link that's provided in the back end in the settings for Updraft Plus in WordPress. So it gives you this link right down here. Okay, kind of gray highlighted. You're going to copy all that, replace the current URL with this one, okay, and then I'm going to take the actual domain name of the site. I'm going to replace the example up here with that. There we go, there we go. I'm going to create the client ID. Let it catch up with itself. Okay, and then it gives us the credentials that we need to plug into the back end there in the settings. So, starting with the client ID, I'm just going to copy that and paste it. Here we are, right down here, Google Drive client ID, paste it in, go back, grab the client secret, paste that in. Okay, so it looks like I've got both of them. Updraft Plus for the Google Drive folder, we'll leave it as it is. You can't change that unless you upgrade to the Updraft Plus Premium. This one's the free version, I'll stick with that. Then right here it says to save the changes first, then come back here and click on this link. So I'm going to go ahead and save the changes. Okay, takes us back to the default tab, which is the current status. I'm going to go back into settings. Scroll down. Okay, there's our number and the client ID, client secret. And I'm going to go ahead and click this link to authenticate with Google. It's going to request for permission. Click on accept. And I get this message here, success, you have authenticated your Google Drive account, and etc., etc. And then you want to test this backup. So I'm going to go ahead and select backup now. Leave everything as it is because I want to back up everything. Backup. And you'll see right down here the progress of that backup. This could take a moment. So if I need to, I'll move this ahead, but we'll give it a moment right now, see if it finishes up quick. While that is processing, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the Google Drive, my actual Google Drive, and we'll see what it's creating in there. Okay, so this is my Google Drive. There's a few folders in there. You just saw right now where the Updraft Plus folder just popped in. That wasn't there a moment ago, but it created it. So this plugin went ahead and created that folder, and if you remember from earlier, it is this folder here, Google Drive folder, Updraft Plus. It created that in the Google Drive. So there it is, there's a folder, and inside that folder is where it's storing this backup package. So let's look at the progress here. And there we are. So it's still finishing up. Now I'm doing this on Google Chrome. I was doing this originally on Firefox, but I did encounter some issues with setting up this plugin in Firefox, and it was giving me trouble connecting to the Google Drive API and the project that I'd set up and client ID and all that. So I went ahead and switched over to Google Chrome, and it seemed to work much easier that way. I did get it to also work on Firefox, but I had to kind of redo everything all over again. And it also does provide you instructions here for when a situation does occur where it doesn't connect and you get an error. And basically it's going to tell you to start everything all over again. So you've got this Debugging Expert Tools tab, and it gives you the option to wipe all settings. So you would wipe all settings. So that just resets the settings for this plugin. You would have to go back into your Google API and delete this one and create a whole new one, and then plug those new credentials back in and try it again that way. But in this instance I did switch over to Google Chrome. It seems to have done the trick, so I was able to get through this much easier actually. But once it's set up, it's working nicely. Updraft Plus, I'm going to go ahead and double click in there, see what's available so far. There we go. We've got a few zip files. Okay, so it creates chunks of your site, and then it packages them in zip files, and it stores all of them in here. Let's see where we're at here. Okay, and everything looks great. Okay, so it created that last backup job run. You've got a log file as well. Now, looking at the files for my site now, here is my WordPress installation. So I'm going to go into WP Content. Looks like I have to log in again. So give me one moment. And then I'm going to go back into my installation for this site. Under WP Content, you'll see that the Updraft plugin created a new Updraft folder. This folder is where it stores the packages that it creates while it's processing, and then it moves it from there to your Google Drive. So that's why this folder is created here. Otherwise, the plugin files are all in here. So now I have a recurring an automatic backup schedule for this site daily. You can change it to whatever you want, weekly. I like to go with daily. And you will have it stored in your Google Drive. So that is how you set up a backup using a free plugin to back up your site. And you can also restore it, migrate it, and clone it as you need to.